Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we have a rather large, oh god, so large, array of items, the unique helmets, because not only is there a unique item for every single classification of normal, exceptional, and elite, but there is also unique class helmets as well, and unique circlets. So I think we're probably closing in on like 30 items for this one. So this one will be kind of a long one, unfortunately. And really nothing I can do about it. So we're going to dive right in. We'll try and hit these as fast as I can since we have so very many. And the first on our list is Biggins Bonnet. Now let me start this off by saying that every single helmet can be socketed. Obviously you can take it to... Harlequin, I think it's, no, not Harlequin. What the hell's his name in Act 5? I don't even remember. But you can do the socket quest, and you can socket any of these helmets, doesn't matter what it is. So I've gone ahead and I've put a socket in every single helmet. Now, if you see more than one socket, like for instance, the Crown of Ages has 2 sockets, then that is in effect on the item itself. So, interesting. So, Biggins Bonnet. Biggins Bonnet is a very low-level hat at level 3. It has 30% enhanced damage, which, while seeming like a rather large percentage of damage, I'm going to be honest with you, it is it's very low for level 3, because at level 3 you only have like 20 damage to begin with, so 30% of 20 is only really like 6. Later on in the game, when you actually have large amounts of damage, 30% can be very good number, but there's much better hats by that point in the game. There's literally no variation on this helmet at all, except for the base defense, which is only like 2 or 3 points. As you can see, 30% enhanced damage, 32 attack rating, 14 defense, 15 life, 15 to mana, and of course you can throw a socket in there and put some piece of some cool gem or rune in there that you'd want. And for level 3, it's actually a very nice hat, and if I had a level 3 character, and I had Biggins Bonnet laying around, I'd definitely put that on there. If not for the defense or the enhanced damage or the attack rating, but at the very least for the life and mana, 15 life and 15 mana at level 3 is actually a lot. Next on the list is one of the most famous helmets in the game, which is the Tarn Helm. Obviously, as you can see, it's a level 15 with +1 to all skills, so very nice. And it has 50% better chance of magic items, as well as 75% extra gold for monsters. So as you can see, 2 very sought-after effects there, +1 to all skills and 50% better chance of magic items. And as you can see, I went ahead and threw a socket in there. And in this helmet, it's important because if you are in possession of a perfect Tarn Helm and you want to throw a perfect topaz in there, that's going to bring up the magic find even further to, was it 74%? Now, the magic find on Tarn Helm does vary between 25 to 50%, and you will find that perfect Tarn Helms are much more sought after than crappy ones. Next on the list is the Coif of Glory Helm. The Coif of Glory Helm is very interesting because it has Hits Blind's target on it, and I'll explain why this is important. It also has 10 defense, 100 defense versus missile, which at level 14, 100 defense versus missile is actually kind of nice. Not exactly a good stat all around, and especially on higher level armor, you don't really care about it. But at level 14, it might actually save your life a little bit. 15% lightning resist, attacker takes damage of 7, and of course, I threw a socket in there. There's literally no variation on this helmet at all. All the stats will remain the same except for the base defense. Hits blind target is exactly the same as dim vision, which is the Necromancer curse. So I kind of want to go over what this curse does so that you all can get a good idea of how useful the Coif of Glory can be. So this curse, it lowers most targets' vision, detection range. It does not work on players, super uniques, bosses, or Oblivion Knights. Casting this curse by itself does not alert enemies to the caster's presence and allows either sneaking past a group of foes or to better prepare for attack. Ranged attackers such as will-o-wisps can be rendered impotent with this skill. Dim vision also prevent some monsters from using special abilities. Bloodlords cannot cast Frenzy, for example. Similarly, Vile Mothers cannot create spawns. Frozen Horrors cannot cast Arctic Blast. etc. Ravens summoned by druids apply this curse to their target. Cloak of Shadows by the assassin has a similar effect on enemies, and reduces their special abilities range to 20 yards instead of outright blocking them. So this curse is interesting, or rather, the effect, hit blinds target, is interesting, because if you're on a ranged class or a melee class and you are hitting these targets, ranged monsters I've noticed will like completely not see you. So like pretend you're in Act 2 Nightmare, you sling a multi-arrow out and hit blinds target hits, you know, all these ranged monsters and half of them go blind. None of those ranged monsters will shoot at you any longer because they can't see you anymore. You know, and then there's also the fact that you can literally be standing right next to something and then they still can't see you. Now, I don't know exactly how long the effect on this helmet lasts. It is essentially like the curse. And at level 1, the curse is 7 seconds. And at level 20, the curse is 45 seconds. So obviously not very long. At any rate, at level 14, hit blinds target can be useful in a variety of ways. We have the Duskdeep Full Helm. The Duskdeep Full Helm has 8 to maximum damage, which is actually pretty sweet. At level 17, that'll actually get you a lot more on your skill hits. 50% hits defense, 20 to defense. All resistance is 15, which again, all resistance is very nice at level 17. All resist is very nice no matter what character you're on. But at level 17, plus 15 to all resist is actually pretty handy. And damage reduced by 7, -2 to light radius, and of course you can throw a socket in there. This particular helm probably good on just about anybody, to be honest. You know, that all resistance is 15. If you happen to find this, no matter what character you're on, and you just wanted to slot that in, you know, even if you're a sorceress or something, if you don't have anything better at the moment at level 17, the all resist 15 is going to be helpful. Next on the list is the Howltusk Great Helm. So the Howltusk Great Helm has one of the effects that I've always felt very blah about. And that is hit causes monster to flee. I can never really figure out why you would want this. You know, it's not really like the best ability in the world, and as a melee character, you know, you kind of want monsters to come to you, so you definitely wouldn't want it as a melee character unless your goal was to keep the monsters off of you. And then, of course, it has knockback too, so not only are you causing the monsters to run away, you're also causing the monsters to get knocked back as well. I mean, maybe this would be good on a Boazon, just so you could keep the monsters at range from you, or a sorceress that is using a bow or something, or maybe a Javazon. You know, something that is able to attack at range, and then, you know, you're basically setting yourself up for a situation where you don't have to worry about them coming within melee range. I don't know. The rest of the stats on the helmet are kind of lackluster. It does have enhanced defense, magic damage reduced by 2, attack or take damage of 3, and then the last stat, which is the only one that really matters, is 35% damage taken goes to mana, which is very odd because the entire rest of the helm is based around making monsters get away from you, and then 35% damage taken goes to mana is based around monsters getting close to you. So I don't know. I feel like the helmet is kind of at odds with itself. There is practically no variation on this helmet. All the stats remain the same, including the defense. The next helmet on the list is the Face of Horror. The Face of Horror has 50% damage to undead, so very PVM. Hit causes monster to flee 50%. Again, another fleeing helmet. Even has a much larger flee percent chance than the previous helmet. So the previous was 25%, and this one is 50%. 25 defense, 20 strength, all resistances 10, and of course you can throw a socket in there. And as for variation on this helmet, there is none, except for the base defense. So an all resist plus 20 strength helmet could come in handy if you're just having trouble putting on gear early on, and you want that extra strength. You know, the all resistances is nice. A lot of these helmets, you're probably not going to specifically pick them for your character, but if you happen to find one, you're not going to be like, oh, well, that sucks, I'm not going to wear that. You're probably going to put it on because chances are whatever helmet you have in your slot is not going to be the greatest. I don't really specifically remember ever choosing the Face of Horror mask, but I think a couple times I found it, you know, just simply by random chance, and on my little self-found builds, you know, it was a good helmet for a little while until I found something better. Next helmet on the list is the Undead Crown. I was always a little bit confused about this helmet because it has +3 to Skeleton Mastery, but it also has a 5% lifesteal. I don't know. The variation on this helmet happens to be the attack rating versus Undead, and that's literally it, besides the defense fluctuating up and down a little bit. So we got 50% damage to Undead, 100 attack rating to Undead. We have 5% lifesteal, 3 to Skeleton Mastery, Necromancer only, 60% enhanced defense, 40 defense, poison resist 50%, half freeze duration, and of course you could throw a socket in there. Now, if I was a Necromancer and I put this on for the +3 Skeleton Mastery, I feel like it would be a waste because I wouldn't be getting the effect of the damage to Undead, the attack rating against Undead, the lifesteal. You know, none of that would be helping me out. I mean, if I didn't have any other helmet to put on, then yeah, maybe. I don't know. It seems like it would be better on a Paladin, in my opinion. Because, you know, Paladins are always wielding a weapon that usually has, you know, like a War Scepter or something that has damage to Undead already. And then you got more damage to Undead, and you got lifesteal, you know, and then it's level 29, so you probably would be at Act 2 Nightmare, so you'd have some fun murdering some Undead with it. But hopefully by then you'd found a better helmet than that. It looks cool, though. Next on the list, we have the Wormskull Bone Helm, which has +1 to Necromancer skills, 80 poison damage, 5% lifesteal, 25% poison resist, as well as +10 to mana. And as you can see, again, another cross-purposes helmet. We have +1 to Necromancer skills, so it seems like it would be great for Necromancer, but then it has 80 poison damage, 5% lifesteal, and you know, those are melee or ranged attack things. You know, they're not for a Necromancer. So maybe a Necromancer who's using a poison dagger. Sounds about right. Next on the list, we have a Peasant Crown. I forgot to say, the Wormskull has no variation. There's no variation in the skills or points or anything. So we have the Peasant Crown, which is a +1 to all skills helmet. And as you can see, it has 15% faster run walk, which is always nice, 100% enhanced defense, and since it's a war hat, which is the nightmare version, because we're getting into the nightmare hats now, has pretty nice defense, 20 to vitality, 20 energy, and replenish life 12. Now, the only thing that varies on this helmet is actually the replenish life, which is not really that big of a deal. Although, you know, having +12 versus +6 would be nice. Next on the list, we have the Rockstopper Sallet. I've actually used this myself quite a few times, specifically because of the one effect on here, which I'll get to in a minute. But it has 30% faster hit recovery, which is very nice, 201 defense for a helmet, which is also very nice. It has 15 to vitality, cold resist 40%, lightning resist 40%, fire resist 50%. So very nice little elemental resistances there. And then on top of that, it has damage reduced by 10%. Now, this has a lot of variants, so Rockstopper Sallets are, unfortunately, some of them are very poor and some of them are very, very nice. The defense varies quite a bit from 160 to 220%, and I don't normally say the defense anymore, but this one is important because, as you can see, it has 201 defense on it, which is a lot. And having a Rockstopper Sallet spawn with some really crappy defense, you might be looking to find a better one. Also, the cold resist varies from 20 to 40%, also a pretty big deal. The fire resist varies from 20 to 50%, also a pretty big deal. And the lightning resist varies from 20 to 40%, also a pretty big deal. So as you can see, the Rockstopper Sallet is definitely one that if you could find a perfect version of it, so with the 220% defense, the 40% cold, the 40% lightning, and the 50% fire, you would definitely have a rather amazing helm. But of course, you are not going to find a perfect, like that. So chances are you're going to end up with a crappy one that has some mixed stats, like 180% defense, like 20% cold, 40% fire, and like 30% lightning or something. And it'll still be useful, but it won't be as useful as a perfect Rockstopper Sallet. Now, the damage reduced by percentage is actually a very awesome stat, and it comes with 10%. That actually caps out at 50. It's basically a straight damage reduction to physical, and it can be stacked up to 50%. There are quite a few items in the game that actually have this, and In the last video with the unique belts, I went over this. Alright, so the next item we have on the list is the Stealskull Cask. Now, the Stealskull Cask has a IAS on it, 10% IAS, which is very nice. Also has 10% faster hit recovery, which I wouldn't turn down. It has 5% mana steal, 5% life steal, and those are static. And it has 30 to 50% better chance of magic items. So a very interesting helmet there all around, because it has 10 IAS, 10 FHR, has the life steal, the mana steal, has better magic items, and obviously you can find a perfect one. So, the magic find varying between 30 to 50 is a little bit of a challenge there, see if you can find a couple of them, see if you can get one that's a perfect. The defense is the only other thing that varies, and most people aren't worried about that anyway. All right, next on the list we have the Darksight Bassinet. So the Darksight Bassinet kind of reminds me of the Coif of Glory with the hit blinds target. As you can see here, it has 6% chance to cast level 3 dim vision, so it kind of seems very similar to this, since we have learned that hits blind target is essentially the same thing as dim vision. We have 5% mana steal. We have defense based on character level. I'm level 99. So since it's 198, we can assume that it is 2 points per level. So whatever level you're at, you can just multiply that by 2. So at level 38, it would be 76 defense. Right? 30, 60, 8, 16. Yeah. 76. And then, it's got fire resist 40%, cannot be frozen, which is a very nice stat to have. -4 light radius, because I can see the whole Duskdeep and Dark Knight Bassinet both have negative light radius on them. Seems to be deliberate. And then we got level 5 Cloak of Shadows charges on there, which is interesting. Now the variation on this helmet is obviously you got the level for the defense, and then the fire resist can vary between 20 to 40%. So not a huge variation on the Darksight helm. And next on the list we have the Valkyrie Wing. The Valkyrie Wing is obviously very Amazon pointed. However, the first stat there that you see, +2 to Amazon skills, can vary between +1 and +2. So it would be pretty crappy if you found a +1 Valkyrie Wing versus a +2 Valkyrie Wing. The defense varies quite a bit from 150 to 200%, and as you can see, it has 477 defense, which is a pretty large amount. So the other thing here is it has 20% faster run walk, 20% faster hit recovery, 200% enhanced defense, 4 and +4 to mana after each kill. And it only is level 66, not too bad. But the biggest issue we have here is that it's strength requirement 192. Which is pretty darn ridiculous. Actually, you know what? I think I accidentally loaded the up. Yeah, I loaded the up armored version. Hold on. So the winged helm. This is the Valkyrie Wing winged helm. This is the Valkyrie Wing spired helm. So somebody actually upgraded this, and I wasn't paying attention. So the original one is exactly the same as this, except it has 115 strength requirement and less defense. My bad on that. Alright, next on the list we have Blackthorn's Face. Blackthorn's Face is 278 defense, and it is a death mask. So we have slows targets by 20%, which is a very, very nice effect. That actually caps out at 85% and stacks with things like Decrepify, Holy Freeze, and Clay Golem. So it also cannot be affected by the cannot be frozen modifier. So if you have cannot be frozen and someone is using a slows target by percentage, it doesn't work. The other stats we have on this are the 220% enhanced defense, lightning resist 15, 20 lightning absorb, which is very nice, and attacker takes damage of 25. So there's very little variation on this at all, except for the defense. And I think what needs to be said about this is it's actually kind of a nice helmet. You got to take a look at it in its entirety as opposed to piece by piece. So, we have Prevent Monster Heal, which is going to have a very good job of preventing monsters from regenerating. preventing monsters from regenerating is actually something very nice, and I think all characters should have prevent monsters heal on something as long as they're attacking with, you know, a weapon, ranged or melee. Slows target by 20% is also extremely nice. If you've ever used a Holy Freeze Merc and you just are in love with the way that Holy Freeze slows down targets, well, this is the same type of slow. And then we have Lightning Resist 15%, which isn't the greatest, but we have Lightning Absorb plus 20. So again, we're looking at another really nice effect. So we have 3 really nice effects in tandem there, and all 3 of them will be very useful to your character. And as far as variation is concerned, there's pretty much none. So, Crown of Thieves Grand Crown. The Crown of Thieves Grand Crown has 12% lifesteal, 200% enhanced defense, 25 to dexterity, 50 to life, 35 to mana, fire resist 33%, and 100% extra gold from monsters. It has a rather large variation on the lifesteal, which is 9 to 12%, and the extra gold from monsters also varies between 80 and 100. Other than that, the defense varies a little bit here and there, which isn't too big of a deal. And the main draw of this, as you can see, is that 12% lifesteal, because all the rest of the stats, while they're okay, are not really like super amazing. 50 to life, though, is kind of nice, and then 25 to dexterity does allow you to equip maybe some bows or something. Maybe you want to be a bow Amazon, but you don't want to put any points into dexterity, or maybe you want to be a bow sorceress or something. I don't know. But it's a very interesting helmet all around, and if I did find this and didn't have anything better to put on, it certainly wouldn't hurt on a melee or ranged character. Alright, next on the list we have the Vampire Gaze Grim Helm. So the Vampire Gaze Grim Helm has 252 defense, adds 6 to 22 cold damage, 8% mana stolen per hit, 8% life stolen per hit, 100% enhanced defense, 15% slower stamina drain, which is weird, damage reduced by 15%, which is awesome. And that damage reduced by is variable between 15 to 20%. So if you find a perfect Vampire Gaze Helm, you would be looking really at that damage reduced by percentage. So if you found a 20% damage reduced by with 8/8 lifesteal, you know, mana steal, that'd be a pretty dang good Vampire Gaze Helm. And that would actually be much better than a Rockstopper Sallet, because you're looking at 20% damage reduced by with life and mana steal as opposed to 10% without. Now, don't get me wrong, the 30% fast rate recovery and resists on this are very nice, but good luck finding a perfect Rockstopper. Also, good luck finding a perfect Vampire Gaze. So the life and mana steal vary from 6 to 8%, and the magic damage reduced varies as well. There's a lot of characters you could use this on. You know, barbarians, paladins, assassins. I mean, there's really no limit to the imagination as far as this one is concerned. Not only because it gives you the life and mana steal, but also because it gives you that 20% damage reduced by, which could turn even the weakest characters into someone a little bit more tanky. All right, so next we have probably one of the most popular items in the game. Everybody always cries about Shakos. Shakos, get the Harlequin Shako, the Shako! Well, here we have it, the Shako. So we're looking at +2 to all skills, and as you can see right off the bat there, +2 to all skills makes it look absolutely amazing for any character, and you don't even really have to look at the rest of the stats. Then we have +2 to all attributes, which is just weird. I don't know why it has +2/+2. I guess I just felt like doing that. I'm not going to turn down +2 to all attributes, but well, couldn't they have rounded it off to 10? Then we have, based on character level, we have ++ to life and ++ to mana. And as you can see there, it is 1.5 points per, because we have 148 at level 99. So 1.5 is the equivalent of, so let's say, you know, we got 10, so that's 15. You know, it's at level 62 item. So at the bare minimum, you're looking at, 93 health and 93 mana, right when you put it on, which is going to slowly increase every level by 1.5, which is not bad. And then it also has damage reduced by 10%. So as we were talking about earlier with the Vampire Gaze and the Rockstopper Sallet, very nice, very, very nice to have that damage reduced by. And then to top it all off, as if it was like a cherry on the top, as if this helmet wasn't already good enough, they throw on 50% Magic Find. And it's static, doesn't change. In fact, none of the attributes on this helmet change. The +2 to all skills, the life, the mana, the damage reduced by, the better magic items, the +2 to all attributes, that's all static. So, the only thing that's going to change on this helmet, literally, is the base defense. Next, we have the Steel Shade Armet. The Steel Shade Armet is the unique Armet, obviously. And it has a pretty high variance on the mana steal. So we're looking at 4 to 8%. And the fire absorb varies between 5 to 11. Other than that, there's a small variance on the defense, which isn't that big of a deal. I'm assuming the main reason why you would probably use this helmet is the fire absorb, but I just don't really see this as a viable helmet when you have so many other good options, like the Vampire Gaze, which also has mana steal. Right, damage reduced by. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, Jack. Maybe if you're just going for a replenish life build. I don't know. It does have 18 replenish life. So next on the list is the Veil of Steel Spired Helm, which is 192 strength requirement. Now we're into the hell items with Shako and Steel Shade. So the Veil of Steel is 60% enhanced defense, 140 extra defense, 15 to strength, 15 to vitality. All resistances 50, which is just amazing. And as far as variance is concerned, it has absolutely none. All the stats remain the same. If you find a Veil of Steel, it is a perfect Veil of Steel no matter what. And that is the Nightwing's Veil Spired Helm. The Nightwing's Veil Spired Helm has 352 defense, +2 to all skills, 15% to cold damage, which seems like it would be a very great helmet for a sorceress. But of course, you know, at 96 strength, depends on whether that sorceress wants to build that high. We also have 120% enhanced defense, +20 to dexterity, 9 cold absorb, half freeze duration, which isn't really that big of a deal late game, because usually you've worked in some type of cannot be frozen. And then of course it has negative 50% requirements, which is going to help out a ton. So for an ice sorceress, Nightwing's Veil seems like it would be amazing. Also for maybe a Holy Freeze Paladin, why not? And what other characters could get a good use out of this? A Freezing Arrow, Amazon, and a Hurricane Druid. Yeah. As for variation, the cold to skill damage varies, and that's actually the most important thing on this. And that is the variation of 8 to 15%, so 15% would be a perfect. It also varies on the cold absorb, which is 5 to 9, and it varies on the dexterity from 10 to 20. So a lot of variation on the Nightwing's Veil, Spired Helm, and of course those variations actually do mean a lot. So, you know, the difference between 8 to 15% on your cold skill damage is probably a lot when you're a very high level like this, like level 67 with max cold skills. Next on the list is Andariel's Visage. Andariel's Visage is a demon head mask and has 15% chance to cast level 15 Poison Nova when struck, +2 to all skills, 20% increased attack speed, so we get some IAS there, 10% lifesteal, again, very sweet, 150% enhanced defense, 30 to strength. 30 to strength is a lot, plus 10% maximum poison resist, fire resist negative 30%, so a downside. Poison resist 70%, so going along with that plus 10% maximum poison resist. And then we have level 3 venom charges. So it seems like a very melee or ranged orientated mask, especially with the IAS and the venom charges, as well as the 10% lifesteal. Now, we do have some variants here with the lifesteal from 8 to 10%, so you can find a perfect Andariel's Visage. And that's literally the only thing that varies on this mask besides the defense. All right, next on our list is the Crown of Ages. The Crown of Ages actually has a special effect that includes 2 sockets. However, it can randomly have only 1. So that variation of 1 to 2 kind of makes it silly. It would be nice to find a 2-socketed Crown of Ages. Now, the effects on this are indestructible, +1 to all skills, 30% faster hit recovery, which is always nice, 50% enhanced defense, 150 defense, all resistances +30, which, love it. I always love it when items have all resistances on it. Damage reduced by 15%, which can actually vary between 10 to 15%. So if you can find a 2-socketed 15% Crown of Ages, you're looking at close to perfect. The all resistances actually varies as well at 20 to 30. So for it to be perfect, it would have to be a 15% damage reduction, all resistances 30, and it would have to have 2 sockets. Next on our list here is the Giant Skull Bone Visage, which has 10% chance of Crushing Blow. Everybody loves Crushing Blow. Knockback, 320 defense, 35 to strength, and it has 2 sockets. It doesn't have a lot of stats on it, but the stats that it does have are interesting. 10% chance of Crushing Blow is nice, of course, and 35 strength is a lot. As for the rest of the stats, knockback and defense, I mean, I guess if you had this and you didn't have anything else, like maybe you didn't have a Crown of Ages, or you didn't have a Spired Spill, you didn't have an Andariel's Visage, you didn't have a Shako, I mean, I could see using it, but I don't really know about picking it for, one of my builds. All right, and that pretty much does it for the regular helmets. Now we are on to the circlets. Okay, so the unique circlets, there's only 2 of them. And that is the Kira's Guardian Tiara, which is here. And we have 20% faster hit recovery on that. We have 120 to defense, all resistances 70, and cannot be frozen. A very defensive tiara, as you can see. As faster hit recovery is very defensive. Obviously, it has 170 defense. All resistance 70 is very defensive. And then we have cannot be frozen, which again is very defensive. And of course, you can put a socket in that. Now, the only variations on this helmet are the 50 to 120 defense, and then the all resistances 50 to 70. So you can find a pretty poor plus 50 all resistances tiara where, as 70 is a perfect. The next tiara we have on the list is Griffon's Eye Diadem, which is 250 defense, plus 1 to all skills, 25% faster cast rate, and negative 20% to enemy lightning resistance, which is beautiful. That would be excellent to have on a lightning sorceress or a holy Shakadin, or just any character that has lightning, like a Javazon. Plus 20% to lightning skill damage, again, amazing for any character that does lightning damage. And then 200 defense with a socket. You could work this build in this tiara into a Tesladin build, a lightning sorceress. You could work it into a Javazon. You could probably even work it into a trap assassin. Now that covers all of the helmets that are wearable by pretty much everybody in the game, and we're going to move on to the next set of helmets that are from the Druid. So the Druid has his own specific helmets, and they're called pelts. Now, the unique pelts start in Nightmare, and then they move their way up to Elite pelts. So there's only one in Nightmare, and that is Jalal's Mane. And it is a Dream Spirit. So it has plus 2 to shape-shifting skills and plus 2 to Druid skills. So as you can see right off the bat there, we're looking at plus 4 to shape-shifting skills. So very, very nice. And then we have 30% faster recovery, which is just beautiful for a shapeshifter. 20% bonus to attack rating, again, beautiful for any type of melee character, and both bear and werewolf druids are melee characters. We have 200% enhanced defense, 20 to strength, 20 to energy, all resistances plus 30, and plus 5 to mana. Now, as far as variation is concerned, this helmet only has variation on the defense. So if you find yourself a Jalal's Mane Dream Spirit, it's going to be a good one no matter what. And, of course, you can throw a socket in there and add some more effects. Then the effects are up to you, obviously. Next on the list, we have the Cerebus Bite. So Cerebus, obviously referring to the mythical creature with the 3 heads, the dog that guards the underworld. And this helmet has plus 4 to shapeshifting skills, so very similar to the Jalal's Mane, except it has specifically plus 4 to shapeshifting skills, and not plus 2 to all, and then plus 2 to shapeshifting. 120% bonus to attack rating, which is going to be huge, because by the time you're level 63, your attack rating should be fairly nice, and 120% bonus to that is going to be sweet. 10% lifesteal per hit, which again is awesome, although most druids don't technically need it, since they can put 1 or 2 points into hunger. But nice to have lifesteal no matter what. 33% chance of open wounds, which is a pretty good way to counter regeneration. especially on Ubers, because I don't think Prevent Monster Heal works on them. +2 to Feral Rage, so as you can see, it's a little bit more directed at a Werewolf Druid, because you have +4 to Shapeshifting, and then +2 to Feral, which means you have +6 to Feral, and then 140% enhanced defense. So, very interesting helmet, nonetheless. It could be used by a Bear Druid, but seems to be more specifically pointed at a Feral Druid. Now, the +1, or the +2 to Feral can actually vary between 1 to 2, and the +2 to Shapeshifting can actually vary between 2 to 4. So you can certainly find a perfect version of the Cerebus Bite. The attack rating also varies between 60 to 100%, 20%, and that's actually a pretty big problem as well. And then the lifesteal varies 7 to 10%. So as you can see, there's a lot of variation on this helmet, and you can find a really crappy one, or you can find a really nice one, and good luck with that. The next on the list is the Ravenlore Sky Spirit. This one seems to be pointed pretty much directly at elemental druids, although you see it has +7 to Raven there, which Ravens are kind of cool for the blind effect. So you have +3 to elemental skills, -20% to enemy fire resistance, +7 to Raven, 150% enhanced defense, 30 to energy, all resistance is 25. So the -20% to enemy fire resistance kind of implies that you would be building a fire druid and not a elemental druid. Now, it's interesting because, most people, I think, like to build the hurricane druids instead. But this helmet does seem to be very specifically pointed at fire druids. The all resistances on this helmet varies from 15 to 25. The enemy fire resist negative varies between 10 to 20, and that's an important stat. So finding a perfect one of these would require you to find a 20% negative enemy fire resist. The energy varies 20 to 30, and the defense varies a bit too there. All in all, an interesting helmet, and if you were an elemental druid, I'm sure you'd be excited to find one nonetheless. And then last but not least, on the druid pelts, we have the Spirit Keeper Earth Spirit helmet, which is +2 to druid skills, 20% faster hit recovery, 190% enhanced defense, +10 to maximum poison resist, fire resist +40, +14 to lightning absorb, and cold absorb 25%, which is just beautiful. Cold absorb 25%, not just 25%. Very nice. I imagine you could build this into a lot of different builds since it is a +2. The faster hit recovery doesn't necessarily mean melee, but it could be more helpful to a melee than a ranged caster. And then, of course, the mixed stats there with the resistances, the +10 max poison, the fire resist, the lightning absorb, the cold absorb, kind of makes you very tanky. It would almost make me think if I wanted to use this, I might use it on a bear druid, just make myself super tanky. I don't know. All right, so we have finished the druid pelts, and the next thing we're going to be talking about is the unique barbarian helmets. And this is the last of the list here. We have 4 unique barbarian helmets. The first one starts at Nightmare, and the last 3 are in Hell. So we have here the Arreat's Face Slayer Guard. Arreat's Face Slayer Guard has +2 to combat skills, +2 to barbarian skill levels for basically an effective +4 to combat skills, 30% faster hit recovery, 20% bonus to attack rating, which is very nice. In fact, faster recovery is also very nice on a barbarian. 6% lifesteal, 200% enhanced defense, 20 to strength, 20 to dex, and all resistance is 30. A very nice helm, just a very nice helm all around for pretty much any barbarian that wants to use that. Most barbarians are putting points into their combat skills, so I don't really think there's very many barbarians that would not be sweet for. Now, there are some variations on this helmet. The lifesteal varies from 3 to 6%, and the defense varies a little bit, and that's pretty much it. So if you find a 6% Arreat's Face, you're looking at a perfect Arreat's Face, and a very sweet helmet it is. I wouldn't even want to point out specific builds that this would be great for, because to be honest, it's a pretty universal barbarian helm that would work well with just about any build. Next we have the Wolfhowl. And oh, what an interesting helmet this is. I had to save this for last, didn't I? Well, +3 to war cries, so you know you're looking at your battle orders and your battle shouts and stuff. So that's pretty sweet. And then we have +6 to feral rage, +6 to lycanthropy, +6 to werewolf. 150 defense, 15 to strength, 15 to dex, 15 to vitality, and then level 15 summon dire wolf charges. So basically, what this does in a nutshell is it turns your barbarian into a werewolf, and gives you feral rage. So you have a lot of variation on this helmet, though. So the war cries can vary from 2 to 3. The feral rage can vary from 3 to 6. The lycanthropy can vary from 3 to 6. The werewolf can vary from 3 to 6. The strength, dex, and vitality all vary 8 to 15. So you're going to have a hard time maybe finding a perfect version of this, and this will literally turn your barbarian into a werewolf. I'm assuming that if you were to build this, what you would do is you would not put any points into your combat skills. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you put points in your combat skills, it'd be useless, because you can't use any of those abilities while you are a werewolf. The only ability that you would be able to use is feral rage. So I could imagine beefing up all your passives, getting your passives to maximum, basically, and then putting your points into war cries so you could cast those before you transform into a werewolf, and then just run around being a feral rage werewolf barbarian. I'm assuming you can get your damage pretty high if you built up your passives right and you got good plus to skills and whatnot. Not 100% sure on this one. I'm sure that some people have explored building a werewolf barbarian before, though. So, good luck with that. Next on the list, we have the Demonhorn's Edge Destroyer Helm. All right, so the Demonhorn's Edge Destroyer Helm has +3 to war cries, +3 to masteries, +3 to combat skills, 10% IAS, 6% lifesteal, 160% enhanced defense, and attacker takes damage of 77. Now, there's a lot of variation on this helmet as well. So it can vary between 3 to 6% lifesteal. It can vary between 1 to 3 on all of the plus to skills. So war cries, masteries, and combat skills. They can be crappy and they can be very good. Obviously, if you wanted to wear this helm, you would want a 333. Probably with some good lifesteal, although I imagine the lifesteal is not super important. And then even the attacker takes damage varies a bit. So this helmet is definitely one that you're going to be looking at as a, okay, well, and you'll find it, and it might have like 1, 2, 3, or like 1, 1, 3, or like 1, 1, 2, or something. And you're going to be like, okay, well, that's a crappy one, and you might like chuck it in the bin. Or maybe you'll just put it on until you find something better. It's going to be a little difficult to find you a perfect Demonhorn's Edge. I'm not really quite sure why they decided to do +3 war cries, +3 combat masteries, +3 combat skills, though, when they could have just done a static +3. But I guess maybe what they were trying to do there is force players to use an inferior version. So, like, if you happen to find one that was like +3, 2, 3, you would probably still use it, even if it wasn't a 333. All right, and last on the list of our helmets is the Halberd's Reign. Halberd's Reign. Conqueror's Crown. This helmet has +1 to masteries, +2 to barbarian skill levels, 20% fast rate recovery, +2 to battle command, +2 to battle orders, 70% enhanced defense, and replenish life +23. The replenish life varies 15 to 23. The defense also varies. The 20% fast rate recovery is static. The 2 to barbarian skills is static. The 1 to combat masteries is also static. But the battle command and the battle orders vary between 1 and 2. So an interesting helmet there. Definitely one that you could find perfect of or not. And this one seems to be more specifically pointed, obviously, at a battle orders barbarian. And that 23 replenished life isn't terrible. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Unique Helms. And instead of going over and telling you where to find these things, what I'm going to do is there are going to be links down below. And each one of those links is going to be where you would look up how to find these items. There are 4 different links. There is an area level link. There is a TC class link. There is a link to Silos Pen, which is where you can specifically look up items, and there's also a chart, which will kind of help you out a little bit. I do have a video specifically about Magic Find, and if you would like to go take a look at that video, that would give you a much more broad explanation. I'm trying to keep these videos a little bit short, and I already went through like 30 helmets, so you will forgive me if I don't go through the process this time of showing you how to find these items. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Unique Helmets, and thanks for watching.
He's a little booty. He's a little booty, aren't you? That's a cute little booty.